Thank you all for joining us. So we're here at Interwoven Textile Fair by ITA, our biannual textile, leather, and trimmings show. I'm very excited to welcome two guests today, Scarlett Tapp, who's the Executive Director of the Sustainable Furnishings Council, and Bob Carswell, who is the Director of Research and Development at Material Return in Morganton. And I am going to turn it over to you guys. Thank you.
I will go first. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, ITA, for having us today. And thank you, Bob, for making the trip from Morganton. I'm Scarlett Tapp. I am the Sustainable Furnishings Council Executive Director. And we're so happy to be here today to talk about a program that really speaks to what we're all about. And for those of you that don't know, we are a 501c3 nonprofit focused on getting the home furnishings industry to be cleaner in terms of human health and what we're doing to the planet. So we focus on 6 aspects of sustainability for our members and for the industry at large. And those include everything from carbon, water, waste, circularity, health, and of course, social equity, something maybe some of us don't think about as being a sustainable best practice. In our membership, we have manufacturers, retailers, suppliers, and interior designers, because these stakeholders really represent those that have the power to change a lot of the damage that our small industry has done, small in comparison to world industries worldwide that are contributing to pollution as well as deterioration of human health through toxins and things like that. So we focus on home furnishings through learning. We offer networking and peer knowledge sharing. We have a new website where we will share more sustainability stories and have more educational CEUs. So today is all about what we're here about. If maybe some of you have noticed, we have several members here at ITA's Interwoven that may have the sticker, and that means they are recycling all those lovely samples that are in the showrooms. So we're real happy to have Bob Carswell from Material Return, who is the entity that actually recycles those fibers. So I'm going to turn it over to Bob. He's going to tell you about himself, and then you're going to learn a little bit about Material Return.
Thank you, Scarlett, and happy to be here today because my heart's from the furniture industry. I've actually worked in the furniture industry for 15 years. I worked for E.J. Victor, actually, for a long, long time. And just want to tell you a little bit about the background of Material Return. So early on in 2019, we worked with NC State School for Textiles to learn about what our industry produces on the waste side of the industry. So we audited, we worked with about 200 different companies to figure out what their waste stream was, what fiber types it was, and then the amounts that actually comes out of the furniture industry. After we got that, we kind of built out a business plan, started up Material Return, and the main focus for Material Return is to be a home for manufacturers, brands, and post-consumer textile waste to come in and be transformed into completely new products. And we do it all within like 150 miles in the Carolinas too. There's no shipping it across the seas to come back to us or anything like that. It's all done right here in North and South Carolina. My title is the Research and Development Director at Material Return, which means I'm usually just running textile equipment a lot because we're early on those stages. We started about 4 years ago, and in those 4 years, we recycled about 3 million pounds of textile waste. We're about 6 members strong. We're a cooperative, so that means all of us folks that are working on the factory floor are worker owners, and we have a stake in the business. So I'm really happy to be here, and just want to talk a little bit more about the textile waste in the U.S. versus post-consumer and post-industrial waste coming out. I think the last study they did was 17 million pounds of textile waste in the U.S. Per year. It's probably going up. And we realized that also through that study, there was only 1% of it that was actually being turned back into textiles. So that's our main focus, to up that number to, hopefully 100% would be nice. But we know that other industries actually use some of the textile waste too. But
All right. So that's a little bit about both of our organizations, but let's get to it. Let's talk about this ITA recycling program that SFC is a proud sponsor of. So where are all of those lovely, beautiful samples? They are gorgeous, but a lot of times they were just being thrown out after a show, right? So now we're going to learn from Bob. I think you have a great video maybe to share. So he's going to share a quick video that tells and shows how material return processes those fabrics.
We'll show a quick video and then I've got some cool art projects here. No.
People all over the world have been waking up to how our habits, our practices, and our consumption affect not only our planet, but our local communities as well. What if we could create a system of circularity that helped manufacturers and brands reduce their environmental impact, create quality, environmentally sustainable products, and find new ways to connect and support the folks in our own communities? That's why Material Return was born. We're an employee-owned enterprise of the Industrial Commons. We're working to eliminate textile waste by reclaiming and reusing consumer and post-production scraps that textile and furniture makers would otherwise send to the landfill. We view waste streams as a raw material stream and the basis of a circular economy. It's a model that took several years to develop and bring to fruition through our proprietary technology. And it's a model that benefits the environment, local economies, our workers, and our values-aligned clients. We collect and custom sort textile waste, process it, spin it into yarn, turn it into fabric, and then our partners in the Carolina Textile District create the finished products. That's the kind of local partnership that is so crucial to our mission, because we recognize our responsibility to create quality jobs by building upon the Carolinas' legacy of textile production. After all, Material Return is the leading platform in the United States for custom circularity. Join us at thematerialreturn.com.
Video has been invaluable to our organization because I spent about 5 minutes each and every day explaining what we did to at the Material Return. So just to explain it a little further, most of the textile waste in the furniture, textile, apparel industry usually gets made into insulation that gets used in automotive paneling, acoustical material, usually in appliances and things like that. So this is a non-wovens industry piece right here, and it's made from something called shoddy fiber. Those shoddy fibers usually are lower quality, but through a lot of the work with these partners that we have in the industry and with some of the proprietary equipment that we have, we've been actually able to process it and then turn it back into custom yarns for almost every need for apparel, hosiery, furniture, and then, work with our partners like Valdez Weavers to create new fabrics made with these recycled textiles. And then as well, we've also had a huge project with Smart Wool, the wool sock manufacturing company. They do a lot of their work still here domestically with hosiery mills right here in High Point, actually. And we've created one of the first post-consumer take-backs for socks, which are more or less you have to recycle them because you can't resell socks at Goodwill. So we've taken back over 1 million socks in that part of the industry, post-consumer goods that were going to be thrown in the landfill by consumers and turned them back into yarn, be put back into the socks. So that's just a couple of the big projects, and I'll be here too all day, so you can ask me any questions after.
We're going to do a lot of passing of the mic. I will say that video is awesome and the graphics were like so cool. Okay, so now let's talk about, someone recycles a member here at Interwoven. We have actually, our team has helped cut grommets along with the ITA team, cut those out, and we get them in the bins that come to you. Then what happens? So we ship them, and SFC is a financial partner. So we are supporting that and sponsoring that to get it to you to do your thing. So when it comes in, Can you talk us through that?
Absolutely.
Sorting.
Got a really good diagram, but you'll see it at the table when we go through. But what we do is we actually provide pickups for local. And when I say local, it's, around 150 miles of our region in North Carolina. We provide pickups. We also receive fabrics in from clients as well, shipped across the U.S. And we sort them, deconstruct them back into the shoddy fiber that you saw. Then we blend it with new materials to make custom yarns at the plant. And then we can ship that back out to fabric manufacturers, knitters, whatever we need on that side. But when it comes back into the plant, we usually have a fee on that side to get that part of the process done, because it is an expensive fee to, run an entire plant that's a very new equipment and things like that. But we also, on the other side, if you're buying yarn, that fee just gets pushed into the price of the yarn. So we want to make it truly a one-to-one, to where you're getting a product back on the other side. And that's our main focus, is circularity.
So we had the opportunity to visit Material Return this summer, and I know you guys offer open houses. So if you're in the area, it's not only a beautiful place to visit in Morganton and North Carolina, but to really see that huge facility. Talk about materials that you don't take.
For mechanical recycling, which is what we're doing, we're actually pushing this through a machine that tears it and refiberizes it. For mechanical recycling, there's only a few different material fiber types that we can't work with. Polypropylene, we can work with it in small percentages, just because it has a low melting point. And whenever you're mechanically recycling something, it wants to remelt back into plastic almost. And then things with high spandex content, but y'all don't have to worry about that. You're in furniture. So high spandex content, like things like yoga pants and things like that. And then things with hardware on them. We can actually push things with hardware into this lower quality shoddy that's right here, but we can't make new circular yarns and fabrics out of things with hardware, buttons, grommets, like we were saying, like that. So yep, that's why it's important to remove those kind of things, because they can start a fire very quickly, especially with metal.
Wonderful. So if a company wanted to participate beyond this recycling, so this program is to get everyone, acclimated to this idea that you can recycle your textiles. So if they want to go above and beyond and have a relationship with you, what would they need to do? And then maybe you want to talk about a local success story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's really important. Like we said, if you just want to have your materials recycled, that's easy. There's already been reclaimers down in South Carolina, Leaf Fibers, Martex, these folks that have been taking furniture scrap to make these insulated products. But if we want to do that true one-to-one, it takes some development. We also have products that are already in the line that if they fit your needs, then those are ready to go. But it takes a lot of development to figure out every waste stream is completely different than the next. Even if it's just in furniture, several folks use different polyesters, polypropylenes, higher content materials in their line. So it takes a lot of development and research, and that's where it helps to talk with technical experts on your team. I'll nerd out with them for hours on end because I'm a textile nerd too. So that's how we figure out what products can be made from the waste stream, what waste stream is there, the volumes that are needed, and then also working with designers to think about end of life before a product comes out. And that's what's really key to driving this kind of green industry forward. If we design in a way that's completely not closed loop, and it makes it very hard on us to create a product that meets all the standards in the furniture industry, especially. The one really great project that we've been working on, and they're located in Valdez, North Carolina, or Rutherford, I can't remember, really close to Morganton, is Valdez Weavers. We've been working with them since the start because they're probably one of the largest weavers in the hemisphere of designer textiles for home furnishings and contract and stuff. We've been collecting their loom waste. We've actually produced several different yarns. I think this one might actually have some in it, and as well as these two fabrics were actually trialed as early prototypes at Valdez Weavers. And we take the waste, take it off their looms, process it, give them a new yarn back. They weave it in new fabric, put it into their lines for contracts and everything. So very excited to work with them because they're very influential in the industry because they're massive and they make some really awesome fabrics.
And I can also share that they're a member of SFC. So we're proud to have that. And that circularity piece is another one that we try to talk about. You know, it really starts with the design of the piece of furniture. So if you've got this, I know it's also a lot of the newer, younger furniture designers are learning this. They're learning it in school, they're learning it in design, to start and pick the fabric with that in mind, knowing that it's. And so do you find that you're becoming more of a supplier for some of those types of furniture designers and manufacturers?
Absolutely. The other great thing too is the NC State School for Textiles and Textile Technology Center, Manufacturing Solutions Center have all been kind of having folks like us in the industry come in and teach some of these designer students how to start thinking about the closed loop life cycle of their products before they design them. So yes.
Well, with that, is there anything that we didn't cover? I think we kind of hit all the bases. So wondered if there are any questions for especially Bob. Yes.
Recycling a product and then creating a new thing, what material they create. What is your breakdown as far as furniture, home textiles, and
the furniture and textiles is right now it's about 30%. It's a lot of cutting scrap waste from the tables, post-industrial, and then weaving waste from those mills that are making that. We are working on a post-consumer kind of project to start taking back post-consumer, what's it called? Not home textiles, not residential, but the other, like commercial contracts, hotel chains, things like that. So we're starting on post-consumer work with that, which is daunting because I have to deconstruct an entire piece of furniture now. So that's probably going to be a completely new business on the deconstruction side, to take those raw materials, turn them back into a new, piece of furniture for that line. But yeah, and we work really close with manufacturers, because if they're here and you're purchasing domestically in the US for fabrics and textiles, we've probably worked with them before.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead. For the recycling.
Yes, we've got about 60 clients that we do some type of the process. Some of them we do just collect the actual textile waste because they're not in the place to where they want to actually purchase yarn back. A lot of times they're not a weaver, but usually on the hosiery side, we've got probably, I would say, 30% hosiery, 30% apparel and post-consumer, and then about 30% furniture and textiles. And furniture lends itself well because woven fabrics do break down mechanically well back into, and they usually use coarser yarns, heavier gauge yarns to do furniture manufacturing. So.
Yes.
Yep.
Fibers.
Absolutely.
Is that something that,
That is all of the conversation. Would much rather focus on, the corporate side of, here's a hotel chain. These are all the same types of fabric. We need to hit this spec on this yarn to make it hit the abrasion standards that are needed for this part of the industry. And that's the way we've done everything. I from the start, we were told by all the experts in the industry, do not put out a yarn that gives recycled textiles a bad name. So that's why it took 4 years to really get to the point we're at right now, just to do the research and development and work with so many of the partners in the Carolinas to it's so great to actually go into somebody that could be seen as a competitor, come into their plant and work on these problems together. Some of these spinning mills, the weaving mills and things like that. So This is something that was sorely needed. We could tell just from talking to manufacturers all these years that they had to have some way to recycle their goods and not come out on the bad side of it of they're just greenwashing. Oh, they're just doing this. It's like, to be truly circular shows that you're, all hands in.
Or get you to elaborate. When we visited, we talked a little bit about colors, like how the different yarns and things, finished goods, can get colored with your yarn. So
So many different ways. First of all, we've been working with Valdez Weavers, does a lot of dyeing. We've been working with Meridian Specialty Yarn Group. They're one of the premier dye houses in the Carolinas and probably the U.S., probably the only one left, to do over dyeing on this. So whenever you actually get to come to the table later and see, you'll see, everything has colored flecks in it. And sometimes if you're not running on a single fiber type, that dye differently. So we do over dyeing, and they usually come out heathered. I don't have a dye sample here. These are just the grease yarns. So these are all the ones that are natural coming out of those recycled fibers. But we've had done over dyeing tests, and we're also in the process of, hopefully, she helped us on a grant to secure automated sorting equipment with fiber analysis and color analysis. So it would be able to sort off color types into different bins. And then I would have a red yarn with no dye, or a blue yarn with no dye involved in the process, which is kind of key for keeping, the industry very green, because you don't even have to dye it at all. You have a completely perfect color line without any dye involved. That's what we've also been working on, because it's really good for manufacturers. We know budgets are tight for manufacturers, and that's, most of our clients are manufacturers. We do have brands, but there needs to be more policy involved in the entire process of it, especially with the take back and collection and sorting. There needs to be a tax break on that. We're competitive with landfill rates, so it's like our process to take back and then give you a certificate of recycling in the end. You're going to come out cheaper using us instead of a landfill. And then for the other side of actually using the recycled goods in your products, that is also another policy. We're working with two different groups. I can't remember their names right now, but two different groups that are doing a national kind of policy push. And we actually had our co-executive director go to speak at, I think it may be in the chamber. I can't remember where it was, but she was speaking with the Senate actually about some of these policies for circular materials. So that we're pushing hard too, because manufacturers need a break. Cool.
you want to, I guess we will go ahead and wrap this up, but if you want to come up here and touch the show and tell samples, I'm glad you brought those today, Bob, because it really helps do it. And then I do urge you, if you do get over there, visit their facility. I know you have open house days. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we usually have an open house once a quarter. We got a good team there that does open house of not only our facility, but also another cut and sew, a dye house, and then all the nonprofit work that the other wing of our organization does, which helps with workforce development, cooperative conversions, worker ownership conversions, ESOP, things like that. Really pushing, the workforce and the frontline worker as at the forefront of this kind of green new circular economy. So do a lot of different things. Just check out our website, and they all link to each other.
Yeah, I think that's great. And just what you've done to revitalize this idea of the Carolinas equals textiles. And that, if I will say, yes, you guys are up for that potential exciting new grant that could really stimulate this local economy and kind of make us a hub. Because I will say this, SFC, we're international. We have members that are abroad in Europe, or as far as India and Canada. But when they're looking for somebody like Material Return, and they're not near them. Like he's doing the things, and because of, you don't want to have that shipping or the carbon and all of that, we need more organizations to pop up around the country, because you'd be surprised that where they're not, and that we have it right here in our backyard. So we're real grateful for that. So thank you everyone for joining us. And I guess we'll dismiss, and you come touch the yarn. Thank you.